right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and you're tuned into the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's another episode of It's a Black and White Thing featuring A1 and A Ward. I am your host, one half of the dynamic duo. I am A1. Please remember you can follow the show by subscribing, by going to soundcloud.com, brains and bars, or the podcast app of your choice. You can check out every episode there. You can check out most episodes since we started going live on Zoom and now on live stream during the pandemic. You can check out those episodes by going to youtube.com, searching Brains and Bars. And you can follow us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook by searching at Brains and Bars. And as you can see, like I said, I'm not doing this by myself, but I'm here with my guy, A Ward. What's going on, man?
Good to be back. A little bit of a hiatus on both of our parts, but it's been good, man. Doing well. IamAward.com. Go to my website. Y'all can follow me on all my social media hyperlinks there. Click the tabs for battles, interviews, merch, all that good stuff. Easy access there. Please tap in with me. Like I said, little hiatus. Good to be back. Excited for the future. Got some people lined up to be on the show, hopefully in the coming weeks that are exciting for us. And a lot of battle events coming up, a lot of sports going on right now with the NBA playoffs. And yeah, just a lot to talk about. But what seems like always just a little bit of time that we're able to squeeze this in every week.
I know, man. Like, it's cool to try to get back in the swing of things. Get back in the swing of things. JC was good. And like when you don't do the show for a couple of weeks, like you said, life, I had finals for school. And like, I didn't want to do anything once that was done. Like, I lost the motivation to I don't want to say to live, because that's too far, too extreme. But I lost the motivation to do anything constructive once school was out, man. So I've been going to school for like 6 years straight. And like, yeah, I just kind of reached my breaking point. So, but we're glad.
Why did I got the voice, is it the Kendrick voice? I've been on my job like 20 years straight. I've been on my job. What is that? I've been going to school for like 6 years straight.
Man,
it seemed like that.
Yeah, man. So, we're done with school. School's out for summer. And we're back. Got a nice little show lined up for you. We got NBA, obviously, got some battle rap news, and I'm posting in the chat. If you want to join the show, you're more than welcome to call in by clicking the link. The Wi-Fi hopefully is good. Hopefully you can see me good. Hopefully I'm not blurry or I'm not buffering anything like that. But if you want to jump in the show, talk some sports, talk some battle rap, feel free to click the link if you can see it. Glad to have you guys. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. If you are new to the show, welcome. For those who have been listening and watching, thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us. As always, we start the show off with what I learned for this week. And honestly, the thing that I learned, man, is that it is great to have fans back in arenas. Although some of them are acting like idiots, the vast majority of them are making, in particular, the basketball experience one that is much more enjoyable. It is much more pleasurable when you can watch games. And when you can watch games and hear the roar of the crowd, it's not a digitized fan with piped in defense, but you actually got real roars, real cheers, real boos, real groans. So it is exciting to have fans back in the building. And that's all I learned this week, man. I really just pulled that out of thin air, because I didn't really. When we come back from hiatus, I never have a prepared itinerary. I just kind of show up, and then as we get back into the swing of things, I actually have itineraries and thoughts and all this good stuff. So that's what I learned this week, man. Y'all can hit us up by going to IG, Facebook, Twitter at Brains and Bars, letting us know what you learned this week. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to A Ward. What are you looking forward to, sir?
All right, I got two. One personal, one sports. We'll start with sports. The Super Regionals for Baseball College World Series start this weekend. So, 16 seeds were announced, I think, on selection Monday, was it? A couple days ago. Obviously, Tennessee, I'm a big Tennessee fan, number 3 seed. So they start their region this weekend. I'm excited for that. I'm really hoping Tennessee makes it to the College World Series in Omaha. It's only what, a 2.5 hour drive for us. So hoping that I have the time and the available weekends to make that trip to go watch Tennessee play baseball. And then the personal side, one of my friends has owns a barbecue store. It's like a grilling store with different seasonings and all the grills and gas grills and all that good stuff. And they're having a 3-year anniversary this weekend. They're roasting a 260-pound hog. They're roasting ducks, venison. Is venison in that deer or is that
Yeah.
veal? Okay, yeah. And they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff this weekend. So at noon, if you're in the Kansas City area. It's up in Olathe. I had to get the information, but I'll get it by the end of the show. And 3-year anniversary, all kinds of just free food, kick it, hang out, dope store up there. So if you're into cooking and stuff, they got all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to this week.
That's what's up. Veal has to do with the calf.
Okay, yeah. I always get them mixed up.
And venison is from deer. So
Oh,
there you go. Dope. So y'all let us know, what are you looking forward to, what you learned this week by hitting us up by going on IG, Twitter, and Facebook, Brains and Bars. All right, so NBA action, it is fantastic. And we got NBA playoffs, man. They're here. You know what I'm saying? And so the NBA has, ramped up capacities, and most of these places are at best 50% capacity, if not more. Some are Atlanta's like COVID who. They've been on that type time for months now. They're almost at capacity. I think the Garden, which I think the Knicks and the Hawks are playing right now, is at capacity or really close to it. And so, it's going down right now in the NBA. And last night, man, we had one of those first round classic games. And sadly, it was not on a larger platform, not on national TV, only on NBA TV. But Portland versus Denver, crazy game that went down, double overtime. Dame Lillard, final score is 147-140. The Nuggets are up now 3-2 on Portland. Game 6 is tomorrow, I believe, in Portland at the Rose Garden, and it's do or die for the Blazers. And what an incredible game, man. Again, I think I might have put, after he hit the second shot to send it to a third overtime, I might have just said Dame Lillard. Like, that's the tweet. Like, the dude was unbelievable. I think it was 55 points. 55 points on 70, 90 splits. So I'm so the holy grail as a shooter that you want to have is 50% from three, 50% from the 2-point, 40% from three, and 90 from the line. Right? Like, so he went 70 from 2, 70 from 3, 90. Like, those are the game cheating numbers. Like, if you play 2K or if you grew up playing live and you just got to play like one of them star players that would not miss, that couldn't do anything but miss, it's like, yo, the game cheating. Like, you just got to turn the game off. That's how crazy his numbers were. But unfortunately, they fell a little bit short in the end. And the Nuggets, they overcame, right? Because any other time you take those type of haymakers, you take those type of punches, at some point you fold. He's like, what else are you going to do? But they're able to prevail. So your thoughts on what you saw last night between those two teams in Game 5?
Man, I watched maybe the first half of the Lakers and Suns, if that, and then turned it over to that game. And yeah, once it got down, to 6 or 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, as you're watching it, you're just kind of like, yo, like, I feel like I'm a part of history, even though they lost or whatever, but like I'll never forget that one game Dame Lillard had. Like, and it doesn't matter what happens. Like, I don't know that the Nuggets or the Trailblazers will end up winning, the title this year. I don't think neither one of them are probably favorites to win it.
No.
But I'll always just remember that one time Dame Lillard was just like, nah, all right, I got this. You know what I mean? And it was I'm tweeting like, this is not possible. This is not feasible. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if he would have hit if he would have hit a shot and then missed a shot and then hit a shot and then missed a shot, like I would have still been like, yo, this dude is, but no, that's not how it went down. Like, just, and thank you to the Nuggets. I appreciate you guys not fouling, because, that just would have took away, the majesty of what we got to witness. If they would have fouled, probably would have been the smart thing to do a couple times would be to foul. But no, I take that away, and then I take away the fact that his teammates were kind of like us. They were just watching. Like, I don't know if they just got caught up watching Dame Lillard and was like, oh, by the way, we got to play too in case he throws us the ball, or in case something happens and we get the ball, because it kind of just sucked that on one jumper Robert Covington goes up like he's gonna do like some kind of prime Blake Griffin put, like, for some reason he thought when he could have just jumped up and grabbed the board, extended the play. Then on the pass from Lillard, he goes in like he's gonna do something. It's just, and then you got McCollum, who is just not aware of where he's at on the court, and it's just, yeah, it sucked. Ultimately, I wanted the Blazers to win just because you want a performance like that to be put beside a W. But you're right, though. It was the classic. It was the best game this far in however many, I'm guessing 30 games that have been played in this first round. It was definitely the best game this far. It's gonna be very, very tough to beat.
Yeah, so I want to ask this question because I did not actually do any like research or put together an itinerary tonight. So just kind of like browsing social media. I saw this from Vince Staples. Shout out to Vince Staples. Vince Staples asked the question, does winning or losing matter in the clutch conversation? So Dame, obviously, is 55 goals for naught, right? They end up losing, but he hits, several clutch shots. I think they said out of the 19 points in overtime, I think he scored 17 of them between the two overtimes or 2 or 3 overtimes or something like that. So for you, does winning matter to be considered clutch? Or do you have to come away with the win in a clutch situation?
Okay, so that's two different questions. So
let me start over. So let me go back and ask the question as he stated it. Does winning or losing matter in the clutch conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the day, clutch buckets are, the idea of clutch is when the game needs you the most, you're able to get me a bucket. And if you're consistently able to get me buckets and we consistently lose, then you're not consistently able to get me enough buckets.
But is that his fault though? So it's been said in the comments a couple of times. You've mentioned it yourself, right? Like he did what needed to be done. He hit the shots to bring. He hit them shots that gave them the lead. He hit the shots that tied the game, right? Like he did everything, but he can't guard all 5 people either, right? Like he can't guard Nurkic. The offense went almost exclusively through him in overtime.
So the question was, does it matter? The question wasn't, is it the only thing that matters?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. If I'm comparing people who hit, shots that get their team in position to possibly win late in the game to people who are hitting shots to win, then I'm looking at one of them as more clutch than another.
Okay. So I'm going to disagree slightly. I think that Dame was as clutch as could be. Like, you can't ask him to do any more than he did. Like, at some point, someone else has to step up, right? So, right. For example, the Nuggets, and we cannot mention Dame's great game without talking about the Nuggets because they persevered, they overcame. right? When you talk about this conversation, how great this game was, you have to say, no matter how many haymakers, no matter how many times Damian Lillard hits a what feels like a crushing three, a back-breaking three, or gets to the rim, there, whether it was Jokic, and this is where the Nuggets team comes into play, right? Whether it was Jokic, whether it was Monte Morris, who had a playoff career high, or whether it's Michael Porter Jr. hitting what eventually ended up being the game-winning three, right? The three that put them ahead for good. There were other players who stepped up when they needed it, right? And so, again, I think that, to me, Damian Lillard was clutch. His teammates were not. It wasn't enough to get the W, but you can't ask anyone else. 55 points. Again, let's go through these stats again. 55 points, 10 assists, I believe, 70% from two, 70% from three, 90% from the line. What else? Like, Tyrese, what more do you want from me? Like, what else you want me to do in this moment? I've done everything that could be done. And at some point, someone else has got to help me carry this burden. And so I would say winning it helps the legend, right? It helps the leg. So this game becomes more legendary if Damian Lillard is able to, one, get the win, and two, finish off the series, right? Because, for example, Michael Jordan scoring 63 against the Celtics. We all remember that game. We all remember that moment. But then at the end, we go, oh, yeah, but they actually got swept, right? They never won a game in that series, right? So I think from a legend standpoint, and from, I don't want to say legacy, but at least in terms of how we tell the story of Damian Lillard as a player, right? We mentioned his great moments. We're going to talk about the shot against Houston to win the series, the shot against OKC to win that series in walk-off fashion, and we'll talk about this 55-point game in terms of incredible moments. But it's just in this one, we'll talk about it with it being in a losing effort. So that's just how I look at it.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. Because it's not like he missed a shot to lose the game,
No.
Although he did pass the ball multiple times.
And I think you had, so this is the one.
And also, it was a bad pass. It was a bad pass too, as well.
True, because Michael Porter Jr. almost picked it off. And I think that's what's real. That's, to me, Michael Porter Jr. getting his hands on it is what made McCollum step out of bounds, because then he had to reposition himself to catch it. Yeah. He catches it. He's going to try to drive past MPJ, and then he steps out of bounds. But one thing I'll say about Denver, I feel like Denver ran too much of the offense through Jokic at the end. He was you could tell he was gassed. You could tell he was done. You could tell
about everything.
Especially when he got the ball like at the top of the key, top of the perimeter, when there was no place to post up and they were trying to run the pick and roll game and it wasn't working. And he was settling for jumpers. He wasn't trying to get to the hole. He wasn't trying to make any other actions, do anything else.
But he did find guys open, though, once he got the ball. When he got the ball, he found guys open.
And you see why that guy's MVP, right? Because of everything that he does for that team. Mm-hmm. And with that in mind, I would have liked to have seen them try to get Michael Porter Jr. more involved. He was 10 for 13.
He had 20-something points, right?
He had 20, I think it was 23 points, 10 of 13, 23 or 26 points, 10 of 13 shooting. But at the same time, like, I wanted to see him get more involved because of how well he was shooting the ball. And just to give Jokic a break from trying to carry the team. Because, again, I think that would have been something where had they lost that game, they would have looked back and went, man, dang, we should have tried to do something else besides run that pick and roll with Monte Morris, or get Jokic isolated on that left side of the block and try to have him make some magic. So Michael Porter Jr. had 26 points, 10 of 13 from the field, 3 of 5 from three, and 12 rebounds. So I think for a guy who's becoming a young star, who's becoming a really good player, these are the moments where your playoff mettle is tested. And I would have liked to see him get some opportunities for him to create out of pick and roll and see if he could have gotten himself a quality look or gotten a quality look for others. But I will say this about Michael Porter. He hasn't made a shot that he doesn't think he should take. Right. So I think the fear was that he was going to get that ball and it was going to be, okay, how can Michael Porter Jr. get a shot for Michael Porter Jr. and not how can Michael Porter Jr. get a shot for the Nuggets? So
yeah.
But yeah, man. So that was like I said, a great game, dope series. Hopefully, I think the next game might be on NBA TV too. But hopefully the next one will be on TNT. Matter of fact, let's check that out real quick.
It'll definitely be there if the Lakers and Suns are playing. I mean, they're not going to show LeBron in an elimination game on NBA TV.
This is true, although that would be funny.
Yeah.
No, it's only 2 games tomorrow night. So TNT, 7:00, Nuggets in Portland. So we'll get to see. Obviously,
who's the other game? Lakers.
It's Lakers and Suns.
Okay,
Lakers
so it comes on
Suns.
after. Okay.
Speaking of that, let's jump into that series, Lakers versus Suns. I did not watch a lick of this game. I didn't watch a single minute of it. I looked at. I'm trying to think what we're doing. I think I might have, worked with the kid on some, getting him prepared for bed or something like that. I pull up NBA TV. I see they're down 30. Or I pull up the NBA app. I'm sorry, to see what the scores are across the league at that time. They're down 30. I'm like, And I almost thought, well, maybe I can go to bed because at that point,
I think the Nuggets were up like 20 as well.
They were up by 20. So I was like, well, dang, maybe I can go to bed. Maybe I don't have to stay up and watch nothing tonight. I get the kid down to sleep. I look at my phone. I'm like, yo, it's a 2-point game. Like this is like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we got something to do. But I never watched the Lakers series. It was, it was over. But second quarter, basically, the game is over. And your thoughts on what happened with LA getting run out of the team by the Suns?
Yeah, I was monetarily invested. I had a parlay going, so and like I saw, obviously, who won the first game? The Nets.
Phoenix won the first one, right?
No, yesterday. So the Nets won.
Nets won.
The Nets won. The Nuggets are up like 15. The Lakers game's starting. All I needed was the Nets, Nuggets, and Lakers. So I'm like, all right, let's watch this Lakers game. They come out, they're up, I think 5-0, 10-5. They hit a few shots to start the game or whatever. Then it flips around and it gets to like 19-12 Phoenix. And then after that, you could just kind of tell like this Lakers team is they're not. Well, first off, it's not even just the Lakers, right? We're acting like the Suns are not the 2 seed or for a reason, like they're the 2 seed, right? Or they're the 1. Wait,
they're 2. Yeah,
we act like there's a reason the Suns are the 2 seed. Like they're really good. They are really good with Paul, Ayton, Crowder, Booker, and Cameron Payne is coming on and playing like I pulled all of his rookie cards out. I had him like in the just in the box or whatever, and I was like, nah, let's put these in cases and let's get them, set up because, they just have when they're on, man, they're tough to beat. So, but that and then, without Anthony Davis, the Lakers are just a completely different team, and they're not a team that LeBron can carry probably past this series, and I don't see that happening. So, one of the things you noticed was last year when they won the championship in the bubble was like, I think in the finals, it came down to like, all right, I thought Davis should be the finals MVP. Like it was pretty neck and neck when we were talking about MVP. It's not like Davis was a great complementary player to LeBron and he just was, the MVP of the finals and, glad we brought Davis over. No, Davis is like that dude, I thought it was hilarious, the tweet that said they're calling him Day by Davis, and like because of his injuries. But like this team goes as far as Anthony Davis takes them, and if Anthony Davis is not there, then they go home probably in the next game, and that's just kind of where it is. I don't see just for the. I always look at stuff like the legend of things, like in my mind, like LeBron is not losing in LA. They play in LA. They play in LA tomorrow. Yep. Like LeBron's not losing in LA with the crowd back in an elimination game tomorrow. Like it's in my mind, like that's just not going to be a part of, but if they don't have Davis, like it could be a wrap. And if they're not built to come back either. So, like, they're not built to come back at all. So, it's like, if they get down 14, 16, like, they don't have the shooters. They don't have the character within the team, to just be like, let's get it together. We got this. You know what I mean? And so that's just LeBron's going to have to go for 40, 10 and 10, if they want to win without Davis. And it's just not happening.
So let me ask you this: like, so there's been some hubbub about LeBron walking off the court, leaving the court with about 5 or 6 minutes left in the game. The reports were that he left early to go get treatment on his ankle. And there's been some, there's been some light criticism of LeBron for not sticking around and watching his team get slapped around by 30 for the last 6 minutes.
I'm not mad at it. No, I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think we know who LeBron is by now. Like that's something that, like maybe you're trying to get the feel of the character of a person or how they a new superstar or something and how they deal with pressure. Like LeBron's been in the league long enough now to where we know that like him going back 6 minutes in, like he's still LeBron. He's still, high character individual off the court. He's not making decisions selfishly in my mind in regards to they're down 30, like he's seen Ben McLemore and he's seen, some of these other guys play before. He doesn't need to assess, this isn't a preseason game where he needs, or something like that. So I'm not mad at that at all. But I mean, he knows just as much as we do. The cameras are on him at all times. So every step he took leaving was 6 minutes ago. He knew, this is probably going to be something tomorrow.
Listen. I don't think enough people are taking into consideration.
Maybe he was just, challenging a fan to throw something at him.
Oh my God!
I mean, maybe he was just like, what if I leave with 6 minutes to go? Then they'll, then.
Yo, listen. I don't think people are quite taking into consideration everything that's going on, right? I don't think they are. You're getting smacked. You are getting smacked by 30.
It was almost 40 at once, I think.
Not 30. 30. You're getting 30 right now. You are LeBron James. You're without AD. You're doing everything that you can because this is what LeBron does. He elevates those around him. You're doing everything you can to elevate the guys around you, trying to get them involved, trying to get their confidence up. And they are just not they're not completing just at their level at all. They're not competing, I should say, at the level that they're accustomed to at all. They're not playing well at all. Mm-mm. You are watching Kyle Kuzma play like Kyle Kuzma. Dennis Schroeder is 0 for 9. Markeith, I think I just call him Twin. Twin not doing nothing right now. Ben McLemore? Pivotal game 5. Ben McLemore is who we talking about right now. Listen, man, bump my ankle, bump Anthony Davis, always getting hurt all the time, bump Vogel, bump Genie, bump Kuzma, bump Gasol. You too slow. You can't play no defense. Bump Harold. I'm out of here. I'm LeBron James. I got to put up with this. I'm not about to sit here and watch my team get smacked by 30 on national TV. And everybody I know, all the memes is waiting on me. All the jokes is waiting on me. Man, I'm about to go take care of this ankle. My ankle hollering right now because I'm not right now. I'm not putting up with this.
No, it's not happening.
I'm not putting up with it. I'm getting up out of here. And I holler when y'all get to the locker room, get your mind right because I'm going to yell at you because I'm not going. He's never lost a first round series. This is the first time he's been down in a first round series with elimination. Right, he's been down before, but he's never been in a point in the first round
elimination
he's
game.
Faced elimination. Y'all making me look bad out here. So I'm about to go to this locker room, get this ankle worked on, get myself ready, yell at y'all when y'all get back here. Y'all better stop embarrassing me in front of these people. That's all I know. Y'all better stop embarrassing me in front of these people before I act the fool up in here.
We got company over.
Man, in front of company, this what y'all doing? Bro.
Yo, man. I'm really upset that Anthony Davis wasted that fire shirt on getting smoked by 30. He had to airbrush the in memory of Kobe Bean Bryant shirt on and I seen it in the first quarter. I was like, yo, that's fire. That's a dope shirt. And I'm like, yo, you can't get thumped by 30, with the shirt on, man. Come on.
Bro, Greg, he did not make himself look bad. Like, bro, I'm not sitting.
I understand it. I don't believe, I don't believe he should be held to that. But I mean, I think that it's the whole captain goes down with the ship type mentality. It's just like, yo, you're that guy. You know what I mean? Like, you should be shaking hands with coaches and doing all this kind of stuff. Like when you leave the court, just the same way as the rest of us should. Like humble yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I understand. But I mean, it's just not for me. It's kind of like, yeah, LeBron James. We know who he is. So,
hey man, listen. There's honor in quitting. There's honor in quitting. Let me tell you right now. Listen, this doesn't compare it to what LeBron James experienced, but back Live 99, right? Then I'm going way back. Live 99 on the PlayStation. Yeah. I went through a season with the Toronto Raptors, right? Okay. I get all the way. Was it Toronto Raptors or Portland Trailblazers? One of those two. It might have been Portland Trailblazers. I get to the NBA Finals. I'm taking on the New York Knicks. It's Game 7. I'm up 1. They got the ball. I'm trying to foul. I am like pressing the button. Foul him. Intentional foul. I want to put him at the line because I want to get the last shot up.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You know when it fouls him? When he's getting his shot up and one. I lose the NBA Finals with like 5 seconds left. You know what I did? I hit reset. I ain't going out like this. There is honor in quitting. I'm not going out like this. Now, unfortunately, the exact same scenario played. It was like deja vu. The exact same thing happened again, and I took my L. But I'm just saying, sometimes.
Yeah, but if cameras were on you and you were on ESPN being filmed live, watching you play esports, are you throwing the controller? Are you No, you're not. No,
I'm tripping over the court. Oh, dang, my bad,
bro.
y'all.
You're taking that L, man. It's
happening. My bad, y'all. I tripped over the court. We got to play again, but I got unplugged from the wall. I'm disconnected.
Oh, man. What happened, man?
Man, that. Oh, my God. Listen, man. I'll say this. I understand LeBron's plight, and I feel like if more of us were in that situation, like, listen, Ward, you played basketball with me enough to know. Sometimes you hit me with a beautiful pass. I'm right there for the layup. But what I do, I blow the bunny. You've lived this situation with me. Like, I blow enough for them. You looking at me like, hey, boy, come on, bro. Like, I'm just going between the legs, behind the back. I'm hitting you with these dimes, bro. Like, I feel him. Y'all let us know what y'all think, man. People in the comments letting us know. Obviously, shout out to the homie, the Los Factor. He's calling them soft.
Shaq said they were soft. Shaq. I remember the post game.
Well, he called the Lakers soft as a whole. And they did play. I did watch the post game because I actually tweeted TNT. I said, "Come on, y'all, preempt this. Jump to the inside of the NBA.
Right.
We know let's get to that because it's late. It's like 11:30 at night. I'm ready to go to sleep. I just want to hear what they got to say. So, yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is where Los loses me. He has not been soft all these years.
Nah. Los is wilding.
So if y'all want to come on and express your opinion about these NBA playoffs, I do have the link in the comments for you to jump on here, holler at us, talk your talk, get your takes off if you want to. All right, man. Let's jump to some more series. Before we do that, we had some more news that happened in NBA this week. Today, actually, the Boston Celtics were eliminated last night by the Brooklyn Nets as the Brooklyn Nets moved on to the semis in the Eastern Conference. And it was announced this morning by Woj that Brad Stevens has been elevated to Danny Ainge's position and that Danny Ainge is retiring from the Boston Celtics. I'm going to get to that question just a second, Smoke Kings TV. I see you. And so that he has retired from the Boston Celtics as their team president, overseer of operations and all that good stuff. And for me, this was a sad day because I have grown accustomed to laughing at Danny Ainge year after year because he almost makes a trade for Paul George. He almost makes a trade for Kawhi. He's like the guy in battle rap who almost fights, right? Like you almost fight. He almost makes a trade. And it never happened. He had all these picks, and all he got to show for was 2 Eastern Conference final appearances, I believe, and that was it. My gripe with Danny Ainge is that Danny Ainge was seen as a super GM or some genius because Kevin McHale gifted him KG back in the day, and because the Brooklyn Nets were stupid and tried to buy a championship by getting old KG, old Paul Pierce, old Joe Johnson. and gave them a bunch of first-round draft picks that turned into Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I think Marcus Smart might have been a part of that too, ended up in that deal. But so he was hailed as a genius because people gifted him things, and he acted as if those gifts entitled him in every other trade that, hey, I want James Harden. Once you send me James Harden, your 2 first-round picks, and I'll send you back Marcus Smart and Semi Ojeleye. And it's just like, come on, bro. Like he's like Los in these fantasy football trades. Like, come on, bro. You got to come better. You got to come correct, man. You got to come better than that. You know what I'm saying? And so, like that has been my gripe with Danny Ainge. So while I don't wish anyone to lose their job, especially him, I wanted him to stick around just so I could continue to laugh at him and the city of Boston for not being able to get over the hump. So,
so Brad Stevens is now the coach and
no, he stepped down. He's no longer the coach.
Okay, so he's not okay. All right.
Yes, he is now. I got to make sure I get his title right. I think it's like president of basketball operations.
Okay, interesting.
Yep, he's
so
the president of basketball
operations. All right. Anybody you think that's gonna come in and take that job?
I have not. So Jason Kidd, and I think the gentleman who was fired from the Nets, which I mean that's not a ringing in. I mean from the Hawks, Lloyd Pierce. I think it's Lloyd Pierce. Which is not a ringing endorsement, right? You get fired from Atlanta, and then you get to come on and take over the Celtics. Not the greatest look in the world, but
you think Quinn Snyder would be interested in it?
That is interesting. Because if the Jazz don't win the championship this year, if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think you really got to reassess some things.
Yeah,
right. You got to, and there are rumors that Donovan Mitchell is disgruntled with the Jazz. So the story with him missing game 1 against the Grizzlies is rehab was not going
ready
well.
To go. He was ready to go, right?
Right, but rehab was not going well with the team. He started to rehab on his own, away from the team, and it was almost kind of like as a punishment, like you didn't work with us. We're not going to allow you to play this first game. And I think they thought that. They thought that they could probably win that game without him against the Grizzlies. And it didn't happen, right? And he was thoroughly PO'd, and then he was made available for game 2 like hours after game 1. JC, great comment. Kenny Atkinson would be a good fit for the Celtics. Although that might be like a Brad Stevens 2.0.
Who's the guy the Raptors were upset that they didn't just promote them?
Was it the guy who ended up in Indiana?
I think it was. Nate, was it? No.
Nate. So because he was a part of the staff and he got hired from the Raptors and he got hired in.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know. I don't have to look into it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. I thought Brad Stevens would go find another coaching gig somewhere else, but why would you? That's not a bad gig either. The Boston Celtics, they're obviously happy with some of what he's doing,
And he probably got into the owner's ear and was like, hey man, listen, your boy Danny.
I actually always liked Brad Stevens, but I didn't know like if he could translate from college. I thought he was a great college basketball coach, but I didn't know, if he could make it work in the NBA.
So I think he's a good coach. I think he's a really good coach. I think though at some point, if you're not making that breakthrough, it's time for another voice.
And he's at Boston. What are the expectations?
It's a championship.
Yeah.
Right.
Or bust. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think at this point, it was time for another voice, and it's time for someone else. Maybe we can take them. I think they peaked. I think they've reached the heights that they're going to reach with this current group as it is, and with Brad Stevens. So maybe a new voice could come and change things around. So shout out to Smoke Kings. I wanted to make sure I got this question in. He asked, do y'all think Anthony Davis could dominate in the paint? He should, but that's not his game. Anthony Davis, and someone made a great point. I can't remember who I was listening to, but they were talking about the fact that he was 6'2" in high school, right? He goes through this growth spurt, grows 8 inches and gets to 6'10". And so he was a guard, right? And I don't think that mentality, like when you are that old and you grow 8 inches between, I think, your junior and your senior year, like you're not thinking about being a big man. And so I think a lot of his game is tall guy who wants to play on the outside, right?
Right.
Like tall guy who happens to be tall and not big man. And so Anthony Davis should be able to dominate in the paint. He's got a shot that's not going to be able to be blocked because of his height. He's got the size. But again, if you don't come up with that type of training, it's hard to get into that. And so,
it's equivalent to Dirk, I think. I don't think Dirk was ever, really big man,
True, but I think Dirk
he might have worked post moves a little bit more than Davis. Yeah,
absolutely. Davis is going to be pick and pop. He's going to back you down and fade away. He and Dirk have that in common. But even Dirk would kind of work you a little bit deeper into the post, and I feel like Davis does. So I don't know. But I wanted to answer that question. Nate McMillan. I don't think Nate McMillan is leaving Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to, especially if they win around. If Joel Embiid, more NBA news, torn
meniscus tear.
Meniscus. I think they said he had surgery on it. So who knows what his availability is going to be for the rest of the playoffs. And if the Hawks beat the Knicks and they get a chance to play Philly without Embiid, I might be inclined to take Atlanta over Philly in that second round.
Is everything just falling together for the Nets to just win this easily?
So here's the thing. I got Milwaukee. Listen, it's not the same team. Drew Holiday won. Not to say that
that's a good segue into the series. There we go. We will.
Yeah. I mean, like, not to say that Drew. What's the name of the kid who went to Kentucky? Who was the guard? Who was there last year?
Bledsoe.
Not to say that Bledsoe's not a dog, but I think that Drew Holiday's a better player than him. They got PJ Tucker, another dog defensively, who's the king of the corner three. Losing Dante DiVincenzo hurts a little bit from a depth standpoint, but I think that they have the requisite players in place to beat I almost said Houston because of Harden, to beat Brooklyn. And so I saw, like, again, statisticians and analytics. I saw an analytic that talked about like how the Brooklyn Nets have been playing from an analytics standpoint, and James Harden far and away is their best player. Mm-hmm. I think if you limit, to me, he's the X factor. If you limit, you're not going to stop James Harden. But if they can limit his effectiveness and stop him from being this all-around great point guard on the offensive end, slow down his scoring, slow down his passing ability, Brooklyn's not stopping anybody. It just wasn't really shown effectively against a team that was basically Jason Tatum and the Tatumettes. Like, there was nobody else on the squad who's really going to hurt you. Kemba was hurt. No Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart is who Marcus Smart is. Like, there was nobody else beyond that. Yeah. So the Nets, I mean, it obviously wouldn't shock me if they make it to the finals, but I think Milwaukee's got the defense, and they're going to be able to get enough offensively from Chris Middleton, Twin Lopez, because I can't think of his name, Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
From Brook Lopez, obviously Giannis, and then Drew Holiday. I think they got enough offensive firepower collectively and defensively to stop them.
Both sets of twins are in the playoffs, aren't they?
Yep.
Robin with the Wizards, Markieff and Marcus are both there.
Yep.
That's the only two sets of twins in the league right now, right? I think so.
Yeah. And right now, in the third quarter, Philly's up on Washington by 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I got Milwaukee, man. I had Philly going to the finals pre-Embiid injury, and now I got Milwaukee.
Yeah. I think what we're noticing is just, I mean, bro, a shooter. Like, you have to have a shooter on your team. Like the Knicks, the Lakers, these guys, like they have good squads that are fun to watch. But if you don't have a shooter, if the Trailblazers don't have a shooter in those situations, it's a whole, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I'm sitting here watching teams I like. I love watching the Grizzlies play, but the Grizzlies don't have. I mean, Grayson Allen is not, a shooter. You know what I mean? I mean, he can get buckets, whatever, but they just don't have that, man. None of these teams have guys that can just stretch the floor like that, and that's what, that's why I think the 76ers, the Nets, and the Bucks have a couple guys I think that can shoot it or whatever.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Brook can hit it. He can step out and hit a three. Mm-hmm. Like I said, PJ Tucker, when he's on the floor, he's basically going to the corner.
Yeah.
Waiting for the penetration and the kick out. And obviously Chris Middleton can get a shot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. There's a kid from Notre Dame who was in the dunk contest. He also can hit a three. But I cannot think of his name off the top of my head. I can see his face though.
Grant? It's not Grant. It's not one of the Grants, is it?
No, it is Bryn Forbes also been hot from three
Forbes,
here
yeah.
lately. Bobby Portis can step out. Pat Connaughton can step out and
Oh
hit
yeah,
the three
probably
for
good.
you. And Bobby Portis has added a 3-point shot to his arsenal, though I don't think it is something that is very reliable.
Yeah, no.
So they have talent there who can step out and hit a three when
Yeah.
you want to try to crowd in and box Giannis in. He's got options. So I'm excited for that series. Out of all the series that took place this year, so far this year, Brooklyn and Boston is the one that I watched the least amount of. I barely watched it. We were out Friday. That was the most I'd seen of that series to that point, was that one Celtics win. So we'll see what happens. Also, here's another thing that I learned too, as I'm looking at little scuffle between Atlanta and New York.
They don't like each other.
I love it. I love it. Like the fact that these guys they're not going too far, right? They're not doing anything that's going to get them suspended, but ain't nothing wrong with getting each other's face, talking a little junk, getting a little crazy, all in the name of good competition. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait. The deeper we go, the more tensions are going to rise and the more we're going to see that little back and forth.
The Grizzlies and the Knicks are two teams that I hope can make some kind of moves in the offseason to get them to where guys like Julius and guys like Ja, like they need somebody else. You know what I mean? I don't know who that is, but I really hope both of those squads can make the jump to becoming, like what the Utah Jazz or the Suns are now.
So let me ask you this, because I didn't get a chance to address some of the comments here. There were comments early on when we're talking about the Portland Trailblazers that Dame's teammates failed him, which I want to rebuttal that a little bit. Dame picked up his teammates in game 5. His teammates picked him up in game 4. They ended up blowing that game out. I think Dame was like 10 points. He mainly made 1 field goal, 2 field goals. I forget his stats to the T. But his teammates picked him up in game 4. When he didn't show up, they didn't show up in game 5 late, and he carried them. So, but with that being said, there's been talk about Dame, you've got to leave Portland. You've got to get out of here. When you hear people say that, what are your thoughts?
Well, Dame, I mean, he's not. I mean, in my mind, he's not leaving here. He would have left already. I think he wants to stay there.
Nice.
A game like last night, can take the wind out of you. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they go ahead and lose this next game or whatever, and you're going into the off season like, bro, like I played my tail off, and guys, I just don't have what I need. Like this is the pinnacle of my skill set in the playoffs, and I'm out in the first round. Like I don't know what that does to a player's psyche. But Dame on the Knicks though. Now that would be. I would love to see that, but I also do love. I mean, I love in this world of everybody jumping ship to all different teams all the time. I love the fact that Dame is sold on Portland. They made a couple trades they made a couple trades before the deadline and bring Norman Powell over to try to build themselves for a run. But I don't know. It's so weird because I made a comment and I'm like, yo, like this was before injuries. I said, the Trailblazers could beat the Lakers. They're talking about matchups or whatever. Because I think when Nurkic is healthy, he plays very well. Like if you can keep not healthy, excuse me. Well, healthy and out of foul trouble, like he's his own worst enemy, like if you can keep Nurkic on the floor and don't have to have Enes Kanter playing the whole fourth quarter and both overtimes, but yeah, so as far as the whole idea of him leaving, I don't think so. His teammates let him down. We can say that. I made the tweet. Dame made the mistake of trusting his teammates. Because in the moment I'm thinking like, gosh, he's done all of this, and then these last couple minutes. But at the same time, McCollum hits a huge 3 before the end of regulation, to even get them in the position to where Dame can tie it. You know what I mean? So guys stepped it up in certain moments. It just was tough, man.
Yeah. And so I agree. I don't think Dame was going anywhere, nor do I think he should, man. I think I might have did this show, might have been a solo show I did, one of the last shows we did. And I just talked about the fact that it's really hard to win a championship, right? Not everyone wins a championship. Sometimes you are drafted to the wrong team. The situation's not right for you. But I like the fact that Dame has in his mind, I'm going to make it work here or nowhere at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it means that I don't ever win the title, so be it. And so I don't want him to leave. I don't want him to request a trade. I don't want Portland to trade him. Try to keep, and I'll give Portland this much credit. They're trying, right? Like you said, they brought in Covington in the trade. They bring back Enes Kanter. They go and get the young man you mentioned whose name
Norman Powell.
Powell. They go.
I don't know if the Gary Trent trade, if they won that or not. But regardless,
I think a little bit more experience. I think a little bit better defensively. I think maybe a little bit more size. I think he might weigh a little bit more than Trent, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're trying to put together a team that can contend. And you're right about Nurkic. When he's on the floor, he's really effective. That last foul, you got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. You can't try to go for the block there.
Yeah.
Someone who's already got a full head of steam and is headed towards the rim. Just let him have it and live to fight another day.
Yep.
All right, so one other thing I want to say, because I don't think they play tonight. I think they might play tomorrow. Just who you got, Clippers or Mavericks?
They play tonight, and okay. I got the Clippers. I think the Clippers win the next. Well, is this the next two?
Game five.
Yeah,
yep.
I think the Clippers win 4 straight. I think when you knock a team in the mouth twice in a row like that and win both games at their home, like you have to win one of yours. Like you're already the 7 seed. They're the 7, right? And the Clippers are the 2.
This is 4-5. This is 4-5 between.
This is 4-5. Oh
yep,
gosh,
yep.
I'm way off. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, you have to. You have to win one of those games at home, like because you've literally done the unthinkable. Stole 2 from a team that is a higher seed than you. And then when you get back, you give them right back. I mean, it's a whole new series now. And now it's kind of like, dang, we didn't take advantage of what we did. Now it's best out of 3, and I got the Clippers winning tonight. Doncic is hurt as well. I know we were talking. I was watching ESPN or not ESPN, TNT last night, and they were talking just about all of these injuries and just the idea of these guys finishing in July, turning right back around in August, September, October, and playing again. And like it sucks because it's our superstars. You want to see a healthy Luka, you want to see a healthy AD, you want to see a healthy Embiid. Like, but yeah, Luka seems to be injured. Porzingis is not a guy who I think is going to step up every game. Like he's going to give you a good game or whatever, but like I don't see him. And then I think Tim Hardaway Jr. had 4 points last game. Like these guys just disappear, And I don't think Luka's got the magic that is going to be necessary for them to take one of these games. But
yeah, and I think first of all, I am rooting for Paul George because I feel like in the bubble last year. I mean, granted, I don't think I made a joke. I might have retweeted jokes. I don't think I actually made one myself, but I'm here for a good joke. But there's a time when it becomes about the jokes and not the truth, right? And so when they lost game 2, and I think he put up like 28 and 12. And I saw people saying he should be glad this game is on NBA TV and like just kind of slanderous comments. I'm like, come on, like he played well, but the Clippers were shooting out of their mind. Again, before games 3 and 4, Tim Hardaway was averaging 25 points a game. Like Tim Hardaway is not a 25 point per game player, or at least he hasn't shown himself to be that throughout his career. Porzingis, you're right. Porzingis is the 3rd guy in the big 3. He's not someone like you thought you had found, kind of like a Batman and Robin combination between Luka and Kristaps. And, maybe it's not that, right? Maybe it's not going to be that type of situation. So they've got to find someone who can be that number 2 to go along with Luka, and then let Porzingis fill in where he fills in. But the other role players have been playing out of their mind those first 2 games.
Yeah.
Crashing back down to earth, and maybe we'll see them start to level off and trying to meet their whatever expectations they were prior to, and we see if that's enough to carry them over the hump.
I'm rooting for the Mavericks. I want the Mavericks to win. I like watching the Mavericks. I'm a Josh Richardson fan. He's kind of disappeared too, but he gets you about 12 to 13 a game. Plays some decent defense, but he doesn't do anything that really, is a game-changing type thing. But I want the Mavericks to win. I just don't see with guys like Kawhi and guys like Paul, your back's against the wall now, and I think the Clippers win.
All right, cool. So y'all let us know what y'all think about the NBA playoffs, all the action. What's your favorite series thus far? Favorite moments? Hit us up, IG, Twitter, Facebook, @Brains and Bars. All right, man. So let's jump into battle rap here real quick.